So really and truly, if you're like, I don't care about this Docker stuff, I just want to run our studio in Jupyter Notebook, all you have to do is just go to the blog and basically install Docker, pip install Docker Compose, and clone this repo, and yeah, and obviously put in your data in the data folder and stuff like that, and then you can get started. Hi guys, how you doing? It's Chris here. Just a quick video showing you guys how to use Docker to spin up our studio and Jupyter Notebook, do an analysis or something, save your results locally and all that stuff. I'm not going to be doing the analysis part, but I'm just going to show you how to spin up, how to set it up and all that stuff. So let's get started because I want this to be short as possible. So what I want you to do is, so everything that I'm gonna show here is on the blog, on the Zanalytics.io website. I'll put a link down here so you can kind of follow everything, and this kind of breaks down a lot of things. So really and truly, I'm technically gonna be reading from it, so you can even like just go to the website and just copy the commands if you really can't be bothered. So that's cool. So what I'm gonna be doing is, first things first, obviously I'm gonna assume that you've already installed Docker, and I'm also gonna assume that you kind of know what Docker is, but you're just kind of looking for, you actually want to use it, if you get what I mean. So and the quickest way as a data scientist, if you want to use Docker, is, spin up your environment in it and work in it and then spin it down again and stuff like that. So that can be really good for like deploying on AWS for a data science team or something like that. Or if you want to reproduce your environment for a client or something like that. So it can be really good. So just bear with me, guys. So I'm gonna try and make this a bit bigger. Okay, how do I make this the font size? I'm not even gonna bother. Okay, let me just try to do a plus. Oh no, control plus. Nah, ain't gonna work. Okay, cool. I'm gonna leave it like this. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but obviously you got a blog as well to just copy and paste. So the first things first, create a just find a create an empty folder or something like that, and just create a folder called data inside it, and just put in like a CSV or any CSV that you can get. Just put it in there anyway. I've got a CSV and I've got a Python notebook that came up when I was trying to do a dry run before, so obviously I gotta do a dry run, you get me, just in case. So just to make sure that everything works properly. But so essentially we're gonna mount this data folder to our RStudio, and we're also gonna mount it to our Jupyter Notebook. So I'm gonna show you one at a time, and then I'm gonna like build it up again. So I'm gonna assume that you've got Docker. So to just check if you got Docker, the quickest way that I do it, I literally just check the versions, and if the version comes up, then I'm good. If not, then it's better for you to just go to Docker, and I'm pretty sure that somebody's got a video out there of them downloading Docker. So let's get started. First thing, go to your terminal, or go git bash if you're on Windows or something like that, or even PowerShell, because the commands are still the same anyway. So here what we're gonna do is run RStudio. So we're gonna do docker run, and then I'm gonna run it without I'm gonna run it first like this, and then I'm gonna run it in a different way. -p 8787. This is your local port, so you can call this like 5000 or something on your local host, and then you can connect to it. But then the second one is actually the port for the container, so that has to stay the same. That has to stay 8787. And then obviously E, because you want to pass the password to the container. So is equal to your password. So you can call it your password there. Do you know what? I'm actually gonna go back here and change my mind. I'm just gonna put it here. -D. That lets you like it lets you kind of like what can I say? It lets the Docker container run in the background basically. So it just means that you can still use your terminal and stuff like that for other things while that container is running in the background. So what we're gonna do is, yeah, so we've done a -e to pass the environment variable password, and we've named it your password. And then -v, this is the most important, so this is your volume. And what we're gonna do is, since we have a data folder on this path anyway, what we're gonna do is just gonna put a /, put a quotation mark, $, the working directory that you're working in, and then semicolon. So this is the part that you're, okay, let me use this. This part here is the part on your computer, and then the semicolon, and then the next part is the directory in the container. And for an RStudio container, or an RStudio image, shall I say, it'll be home-RStudio, and then you can actually name, after this you can actually name it anything that you want. So we can name it we can say container data, just so that it actually makes sense. And after that, just put a space, and then you do Docker-RStudio. And if you're wondering where you'd get like an RStudio image for your Docker, in case you don't know where to get images, Docker Hub, and you just search like RStudio, I'm pretty sure it'll be the first one up. So it'll be pretty cool. So you can tell here that I've just run it like this, and it just like returned this, I don't know, ID or whatever. But because we put a -d, it's running in the background and it's not showing us the logs. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna navigate to our port 8787 on my computer. Just gonna put myself there, localhost 8787. Boom. So the username is RStudio, and the password is obviously your password, the one that we specified. So your password, and then obviously sign in. You can do like a not now, whatever. And yeah, there you go. You got RStudio now. It's working. It's looks like it's working anyway. And you know, you can click here, you see your data folder inside the container data, and then you obviously see your CSV here, so you can even open it if you want and stuff like that. You can actually basically start working, and you can even start installing your packages. Unfortunately, this image actually doesn't come with any packages pre-installed, but you can obviously just, you know, this is like a fresh image, really quick, really fast. One more thing that I probably should mention is this docker run command is basically a mixture of two commands. It's a mixture of the docker create and what is it? I think it's docker create and what is it again? Docker build or something like that. I don't know. Actually forgot. Wait, let me just search that real quick. Oh, my bad. Docker create and Docker start. Yeah, it's the Docker run is basically it's Docker create and then a Docker start in the same sentence. So Docker run basically does two things at the same time, but you know, you don't need to know that if you're just trying to get RStudio running or whatever. Well, and you can see there, it's obviously like installed reader, and now you can actually just like, you know, read in. Obviously nobody ever reads in their CSVs like this, but this is just an illustration just to show that, you know, it works. And also couldn't be bother to type in any R code because it was just going to be useless anyway. So yeah, so this is it. We'll leave this running in port 8787, so it's not bothered. So yeah, so our second one, you can probably guess, we want a Jupyter Notebook. Gonna try and get the data science image from Jupyter, and so you can imagine it's probably the same thing, right? Docker run, remember, and then D to make it run on its own, -P to connect the ports. So for Jupyter Hub, because obviously 8787 is already taken, and the truth is nobody ever runs a Jupyter from 8787, so it's usually 4 8s, and then 8888 again from the container, and then obviously -E to give the token. So yeah, to give the token, because obviously if we're putting a -D, you're not going to be able to see the token, so you got to put in the token by yourself. So what you want to do is just type in Jupyter _token in capital letters, and then equals to quotation mark your password, and attach your volume. This one, the first part is similar, so essentially it's still, you know, your working directory. And obviously over here you can't put like home RStudio anymore, because this is a Jupyter Notebook, so it's got a different kind of style. They both got home though, so you can kind of like put in home and just leave it there, but you can also just kind of do home. I don't know who Jovian is. If somebody knows that, they should let me know, but I don't really know. Jovian work, so something like that. And so basically we're mapping remember our data folder with that as well. So yeah, so we do that, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna write the image name, which is Jupyter, from Jupyter, and data science -notebook. Yeah, I think that's right. So okay, let me just see some. Okay, did it work? Did it not work? Let's see. I don't think it worked. Yeah, I don't think it worked. Let me see. It says my mount path must be absolute. Oh yeah, there we go. So you can see there, if you get that error, just put a semicolon there. But check this out now, guys. Like, you know how it took like 10 minutes to run before, but check this out now, because I've already got the image on my computer, so it just kind of works now. So right now, if I do a refresh, there you go, and then you're gonna see your password, login, and not now, and then obviously, you know, you got your data folder in there, you got your work in there. I've already had like a little, you know, a little Python notebook in here. So one of the things that will be interesting is to see what's actually downloaded on here. So you can actually go down here and actually see that you have a lot of things. You know, you have a bokeh here, you know, all of that stuff. Pandas, obviously, and all the big tools and stuff like that. So you see, but one of the good things about this that I like is if I come back here and I come to new, already comes with R. It already comes with Julia. I've never used Julia before, but it already comes with R. So an R kernel. So really and truly, you might not even need Jupyter R Studio, but I like R Studio because those guys really created a good product. So for R anyway, but Jupyter Notebook, I don't usually use Jupyter Notebooks, but I do appreciate like how quick it allows me to test out things and run little snippets of code. So I do use it when I'm trying to like just POC something really quickly. So yeah, so that's you've already got those two things running, and probably thinking, okay, Chris, how do I stop it running and stuff like that. But yeah, you can close them. You can still go back to the local host. It will still be connected. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably like, oh my god, 2 lines and all that stuff. How can I do it in 1 line? Obviously, there must be a better way, and there is a better way. And we're gonna use something called Docker Compose. And what Docker Compose is gonna do is that it's a YAML file. Basically, it's a configuration file, and it's basically just going to tell Docker to spin up these 2 containers at the same time with similar parameters that we gave them. So to do that, I just need to do a stop first. So to stop the containers running, what you want to do is you want to do docker stop, and you want to do a docker ps -a -q. I think that's it. Yeah, so you got, before you actually delete the containers, you got to stop them first. So when you stop them, that's when they actually stop running. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna remove them as well, so you can, the commands are pretty cool. So yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is how do you start, how do you basically move into Docker Compose? And what we're gonna do is I have right here. So before, we just had the data folder, and we just had our terminal in this directory, and we just ran those 2 lines, and we got our 2 containers, our 2 RStudio and Jupyter Notebook running in the container. And we got, you could do your analysis, and it's saving locally in this data folder. As you can see, I've even got that Python notebook that I opened with the R kernel. So now what you want to do is you want to, in the same folder that you have, you want to add a config folder. And what that config folder is, so I kind of tried to balance out 2 things. I didn't want to make this too difficult to understand, but also I kind of wanted it to, if you're doing a bigger app or you're doing more containers than I am, I kind of wanted it to scale up a bit better than, I didn't want to leave you in a sticky situation where I just have a Docker Compose file. But so config will be able to pass the environment variables. So if I just open that real quick, so you can actually see it's got Jupyter token, your password, just like we had before, but now it's actually in an environment file that gets passed to the container when we do the Docker Compose, basically. And then you can see the data folder, still the data folder, and Docker Compose is still here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open it really quickly, and let's do that, and let's close that. And yeah, okay, actually let's close that as well, so that, and we can probably close that as well. But yeah, and so what I want you guys to see is we just start with version 3.8. I just went like research yesterday, just thought 3.8 is the newest one, so I just put it there. And then services, so Jupyter and RStudio are obviously your services. So if you know how to read a YAML file, you can know what's going on here. So container name, obviously you're passing Jupyter Notebook, RStudio. You can name them anything you want. The image, remember the images that we were running in our 2 lines. So this is the Jupyter Notebook one, and obviously this is the RStudio one. Restart always, but you can obviously just take that out if you don't need it. env file is our environment file, but you can actually, there's another one, there's another argument called environment, and so right, you can actually see, I can't felt like pointing at the screen, but yeah, I can't do that. And then volumes, so you can actually see your volumes. So obviously this time we're not actually doing quotation pwd, because that will get you an error. So you do dot to just say that the directory that basically relative to the directory that your Docker Compose file is in, and that's our data folder linked to the same path there, and our ports 888, and then RStudio. This is our first service, this is our second service. You can even see with the lines here depending on which IDE you're using and stuff like that. So you can see here it's almost got the same things, but the image is different, the port is different, and obviously the volume is different, and also the config file that's pointing to is different. And there's another argument that you can add in, and I think that's called build. So you can actually build from a Docker file, but that can be a topic for another day. I think I wrote it in the blog, and I don't want to make this too long, so I'll just go ahead and show you guys how to do the Docker Compose. For the Docker Compose, you can for the Docker Compose, the first step is to pip install Docker Compose, obviously, because it's kind of different from Docker. It's kind of like a mini Docker attachment, you get me? And then you got git clone this repo. I made this on GitHub, so it will have sort of like the same structure basically, and obviously get into the folder, and what you're gonna do is you're just gonna run this command really, and it's gonna spin it up. So let's see, what stage am I on? Okay, so let's see what I'm on. Docker tutorial. Yeah, I'm trying to be in Docker tutorial. Yeah, there we go. So I'm in the same directory as my Docker Compose.yaml file. So what I actually want to do now is okay, let me just take that there. I want to do a Docker Compose. It's not just Docker anymore. Up, build up, -d. Remember what a -d does? Run in the background, and then --build. There we go. And there we go. So you see two responses: creating Jupyter Notebook done, creating RStudio done. And what you want to do? Oh my God! I'm just gonna close these because they're from last time. So as you can tell, it's already complaining. Like I forgot to close them, but I'm gonna open them now. So localhost 8787. That was our. This is actually crazy because what it's done is that it's actually just put me straight in there, but it's actually running from my Docker Compose now. So this is actually a different RStudio than the one that you guys actually seen, and you can actually tell because the console is different. So the console's empty, and yeah, and that's how you get your RStudio working. And obviously everything that you do here, if you save it into if you save it in here, you basically you basically get your work locally, if you get what I mean. And then the next one, localhost. Yep, there we go. And obviously this one really came out. Your password. Ooh, let me see. Your. Yep, there we go. Sorry, my bad. Ooh, heart attack. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so yeah, here it's running using our Docker Compose, so you can actually see that it's actually like a really easy way to get it up and running and stuff like that. So really and truly, if you're like, I don't care about this Docker stuff, I just want to run RStudio and Jupyter Notebook, all you have to do is just go to the blog and basically install Docker, pip install Docker Compose, and clone this repo, and yeah, and obviously put in your data in the data folder and stuff like that, and then you can get started. But one of the things to remember as well, if you want to stop, it's just that command there. If you want to, but then this does it for all of them. So really and truly, you could actually do a Docker stop and then the ID of the container you're trying to stop, or Docker remove the ID, and then you can delete some images as well, in case, just to save some space on your computers and stuff like that. So hopefully, guys, I thought this video was gonna be 5 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's probably gone past 20 right now, but that's what it feels like. Hopefully I've made it clear and stuff like that. And also, I didn't want to edit out the realistic nature of actually trying to run something. Most of the time things don't work and you have to fix them. That's the reality. So me doing a 5-minute video might be a bit unrealistic for somebody who's maybe trying to run this for the first time. You might be getting a lot of errors and stuff, but let me know what errors you get and I'll try and help. But most likely Stack Overflow probably has a lot of help. So yeah, thank you guys. I'm Chris and I'm out.